Hey, Falcons and NFL fans. Welcome to another episode of NFL Jocks and Pigskins with Tom Pollen, Chris Smitherman producing behind the scenes. I'm Dave Holcomb. We got a great show for you today. Super Bowl weekend is here. The big game is upon us. So we're going to break down the Super Bowl 57 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs for most of today's show. Of course, we're going to have our prize picks for that matchup. Hope to help you out, win you some money this weekend. And I think we're also going to touch on a few other subjects, maybe some coaching rumors that are going out there. Still 2 head coach openings that are going to be, I don't think those are going to be filled this weekend. So going into the full offseason mode after the big game on Monday, we'll still have those 2 head coaching openings. We might touch upon that. And also the NFL honors. The thing that caught our eye the most, we could talk about any awards that the listeners might want to weigh in on, if there were any slights or snubs in anybody's opinions. But we're going to, I think, focus on the Pro Football Hall of Fame vote.
Yeah, because, I wrote an article about it, and I got 8 of the 9 new 8 of the 9 part of the new class. I got correct as far as my predictions. So
wow,
went pretty well.
Yeah, that's not on Prize Picks.
What's that?
Too bad that's not on Prize Picks.
Yeah, I know it is. It really is. So, but I think it's a very deserving class this year. I don't think last year I was not happy with the class. This year, I think they got it right. So, yeah, but we can touch on that a little bit. And, I guess they're going to have, along with commercials from, everybody's unveiling their new commercials tomorrow. Rihanna's playing at halftime, and there's also a game. So
right.
It'd be fun.
Are you a big Rihanna fan, Tom?
No, I know. My music taste stopped somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s.
Me too.
So no, I could not tell you any of her songs. I have never seen her perform before, so it'll be an interesting thing. So we'll get to see.
Chris, are you a Rihanna fan?
Yeah, I'm a Rihanna fan. I mean, I would say, I listen to a lot of her stuff, like back when I was in middle school and high school, over the last couple of years.
Chris, I don't even want to hear my God, I talk to you too, and you make me feel like I'm ancient.
Hey, you're not ancient. Listen, Tom, you're just 21. It's okay. No, I mean, I like some of her music, but I could tell you, I was never really like that big of a fan in middle school or high school. I think it'll be cool to see her perform tomorrow at the Super Bowl for sure, and I'll be definitely entertained. But it's not like she's my go-to. My wife would, obviously she would come in and say she loves Rihanna, but me, so I hear it around the house, but I can't say she's my go-to play person.
Well, bring the wife in. Let's hear what she has to say.
Listen, I'll call her in here. Hey, Mabel. No, she said no. She said
no.
She just yelled no. So sorry, y'all. Okay. But maybe next time. Next time.
Sounds good.
So Chris, Rihanna does is it Keep Bleeding Love song? What's the name of that one? That's her, right?
Let me see. I don't even know the name of that song. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
I know. I'm to any Rihanna fans listening, I sound like an idiot.
Sure we both sound
like idiots.
I think it's Leanna Lewis. It's bleeding. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's just stop before we go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. All right. I was trying to connect with Rihanna fans and say
I guess I was look. She did that new song for the Black Panther movie that everybody really liked.
Okay.
So I know that song. I'm blanking on the name, but if I heard it, I would know what it is. But that was probably the most. It was really big because she hasn't done music in a while. She hasn't done any new music, and she's really focused on her Fenty brand and fashion portion. So that was I think that was really big, and I think that's also some of the big acclaim that's going to come tomorrow with the Super Bowl performance. So like we haven't, musically, she hasn't been that involved over the last couple of years with anything. So this is big.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen the new Black Panther movie yet, but it came
out. I haven't caught up with it yet.
It's on Disney Plus now. Came out on there on February 1st. So
Well, I don't get Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm not a huge fan of Disney overall, but yeah, no, I want to catch up with that one. I haven't caught up with much of the Avengers since Endgame. That kind of wrapped everything up in a bow for me. And I really haven't gone into the new Marvel Universe yet. So, yeah, that one I have to catch up with.
I feel like the Avengers also peaked with Endgame. I haven't really seen any of the ones after that, though. I saw the new Spider-Man last year, and I don't think I did it justice because I watched it on a plane going to England. So you watch it on this tiny little screen. That's not how Spider-Man was meant to be watched.
No.
I didn't really enjoy it, but I didn't really experience it the way you're supposed to. So.
Right, that's true.
Other than that, I don't know if I've seen any of the other ones that have come out either. Ant-Man, and was there a new Thor? I probably know just a little bit more about the new Avengers movies than I know about Rihanna. So
yeah, right. So
maybe we should get back to football.
Yeah, let's get back to football.
A topic that the two of us know very well. So,
right.
We got Eagles and Chiefs, and maybe all the chatter going into Sunday is Rihanna and who else is performing, or all the extra stuff that goes with the Super Bowl, the commercials you mentioned. But this is going to be a great matchup too. Like, this on paper looks like it's going to be one of the more recent great Super Bowl matchups that we've had. We've had a lot of great ones recently. If you go back in history, early on the Super Bowls were kind of blowouts, but the last 10, 15 years, blowouts have been much more,
they did much better games. Yes.
Yeah. Much.
Other than the Tampa Bay blowout of Kansas City a couple of years ago. Yeah. They've been very, very close games, very intense games, especially in the fourth quarter. So it's been a lot of fun. I expect the same thing tomorrow. I really do.
So what, to get the conversation started, what do you think is the biggest X factor? I guess I'll ask you.
Oh, God. There's so many things going back and forth in this game. You got, one of the top offenses in the league going against one of the top defenses in the league. So, immovable force, against the immovable object. It's which unit is going to break out? Who's going to have the most effect on the game early? Can Philadelphia establish that dangerous pass rush early? Can Kansas City move the ball early? This may not be as strong an offense as many points as they've scored. You look at what Kansas City doesn't have on their offense, like Tyreek Hill, and you're like, well, I know Valdez-Scantling has had a very good playoffs, but at best he's a 2 receiver. I want to see what Kansas City does on offense to start off the game. Can they establish something against their tough defense? And Jalen Hurts is always going to be a wild card because he's got receivers now that he's very capable of throwing to, but can you keep him in the pocket? Can you keep him from breaking free on you? Because he's going to get his yards rushing. So Kansas City's, how are they going to keep him in the pocket? How are they going to keep him contained? That I think is going to be a huge key.
Jalen Hurts is actually, I agree with you that, one of the biggest things in your game plan to stop him is keeping him in the pocket. If you actually look at his stats from the last few weeks, mostly the playoff games, he's been held under 40 yards rushing. He does have a touchdown in both playoff games, in the 2 playoff games, but under 40 yards rushing. And then in the last regular season game, he had 13 yards rushing. Do you contribute that to him getting banged up at the end of the season? And is his rushing still as big of a threat, even though he dealt with that injury late in the year?
Yeah, I think it's a huge threat because this is a game where you throw everything, out on the field. You've got all spring and summer to heal. This is the time when, Patrick Mahomes is not going to be worried about his ankle, and Jalen Hurts is not going to be worried about his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's you do everything you can. This is, the ultimate game, and you throw it all out on the field and worry about the rest of it tomorrow. I'm Monday. So
right.
So no, I don't think it's going to. I think it did affect him. I think it has slowed him down a little bit. Of course, when you have Miles Sanders, you can get away with that, and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith to throw the ball to. So it's not like you've got a huge handicap if Jalen Hurts can't run, but it adds such a dimension to that game if he can and if he's willing to and takes his advantages.
Kenneth Gainwell has come on strong too in the playoffs. So he's a guy that I'm going to mention coming up a little bit in our prize picks segment. But
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. To answer my own question, maybe the reason why I asked it to you off the top, because I had a response in case you turned the tables. I think Patrick Mahomes is the X factor. I know you don't normally pick MVP as the X factor. It's normally like a player you're not thinking about, but I think I don't want to undersell the Chiefs roster. I don't want to undersell Andy Reid and his genius as a play caller and as a game planner, especially with 2 weeks to prepare.
Yes.
But across the board, I think Philadelphia has a better roster. And no disrespect to Jalen Hurts, but where the Chiefs can make up a lot of ground, not having as strong of a roster, not as strong as defensive line, maybe not as strong as secondary, maybe not as strong offensive line, is Patrick Mahomes, the MVP of the league. You look at Kansas City's defense, looking at their stats, they're average in a lot of categories.
Pretty much average across the board.
They're top 10 in rush defense overall, but they're in the bottom half or about middle of the road in rushing yards allowed per attempt. So that tells you that they got ahead of opponents in the regular season, and teams weren't able to continue to run the ball, and that was why they didn't give up a lot of rushing yards. So
I always look at rushing yards per attempt. I don't care about total yards. How much can you get per attempt? That's the more important stat.
The Chiefs aren't a bad defense. Don't get me wrong.
They're not
bad, but they're not an elite unit like the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the way that you make that up, if you're the Chiefs, is you're counting on your quarterback. I don't think it's going to be a barn burner or it has to be a high scoring game for the Chiefs to win. But I think you need Mahomes to get 24, 27, close in on 30 points and win a game, 27-21, that type. If the Chiefs are going to win this. And he's more than capable of doing that. That's why I think he's the X factor.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, a couple of years ago, he did get beat up by the Buccaneers pretty bad as far as the Buccaneers defense.
Right.
But, he made some incredible throws in that game. People don't remember. He made a throw that was on target where he was horizontal to the ground. As I've always called him the human cheat code. Because it's just amazing what he can do for you when you think you haven't bottled up. And all of a sudden he makes a play. That's all he does is make plays. And it's incredible to watch. But I think Kansas City might, and one of the reasons why I think they might not have the rushing game this week with Pacheco, is that and McKinnon, I think they're going to keep a back in to block. I don't think they're going to be as aggressive running backs out into the pattern. I think they're going to keep a back in the block. So I think that's going to – it kind of takes a bit of a dimension away from the Chiefs, but I think what it adds as far as giving Mahomes extra time or giving Mahomes a chance to look downfield, I think that's going to be important. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to do everything they can to make sure Mahomes gets off.
Yeah. And I think he's going to find Travis Kelce a lot, somebody that also we'll be mentioning coming up in a little bit for Prize Picks. But it should be a really exciting game.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Before we went on the air today, I was looking at that Philadelphia pass rush, and it's just incredible. Between Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargreaves, Josh Sweat, it's these guys are just monsters. They got an incredible linebacking core. They're strong in the secondary. It really is a hell of a team as far on defense. So that's going to be a real challenge. But the Kansas City Chiefs have done a great job blocking this year. Their offensive line has done a great job. So that's going to be something to see is can Kansas City's, and it's almost a revamped offensive line. They changed the whole thing over after that Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
Now, can this offensive line control that just monstrous Philadelphia pass rush and defense?
Yeah, the Chiefs are top 10 according to Pro Football Focus in both pass blocking and run blocking this year. So, and the Eagles were top 10 as well. I think they were number 1 in pass blocking according to Pro Football Focus. So, some elite offensive line play for sure going to be on display. Yeah.
So, you got two teams I think vastly deserve to be here. I mean, this is not where we saw a massive upset during the playoffs and all of a sudden we got a big underdog here in the game. We got two teams that are very well matched, and that's going to make it exciting.
Yeah. We have two number 1 seeds going off against each other. Was the last time that happened the Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I believe so, yes. It's been a while since this has happened.
Which, of course, was a very memorable game.
That was that was an exciting game.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
So one of the best.
Have you seen any good prop bets? And I'm not talking Prize Picks. We'll get to that in a minute. But, you normally bring up, how the length of the national anthem and all these very interesting bets that you can have on the Super Bowl. Have you looked at any of that this week?
Yeah, I looked at a couple of websites to see what I could find. Now, there is a prop from Bovada. America the Beautiful, who will be shown first, Travis Kelce or A.J. Brown, as they can the sidelines? Which one will be shown first? So that is an interesting prop bet. I don't know how you judge that.
I'd go with Kelce.
Okay, yeah, so would I. Because he's going to be a focus because of the Kelce brothers. So how long will it take Chris Stapleton to sing the U.S. national anthem? Bovada has him over 2 minutes, 7 seconds or under 2 minutes, 7 seconds. And from what I understand, I don't know Chris Stapleton's music, but from what I understand, he could throw a lot of extra vowels into words that didn't exist in the first place.
So you're going over.
I think the favorite is going over the 2 minutes 7.
Okay.
Let's see. The Gatorade bath, of course, is always a very popular bet every year for the Super Bowl. Orange is the favorite, of course, because orange, I think, has been like a third of all Gatorade baths have been orange. However, there is a very interesting bet considering if the Eagles do win. There is a lime, green, and yellow combined bath, whether it comes out as combined a lime, a green, or a yellow Gatorade bath. So I think that would be more like the Eagles sideline. That is very popular. Then you got blue, purple, red, and clear. So I think orange or that yellow Gatorade bath looks interesting. That might be one you might want to take.
On what basis?
If the Eagles win.
If the Eagles win. Oh, okay. Not the lime green, the yellow.
Yellow. Now, if the Chiefs win, you never know. Red is plus 850 on the money line. So you might want to, that might be worth throwing a few shekels at, just because, you got the Chiefs, and if the Chiefs win, they might do a red bath. So it could be interesting. Now here's one again from Bovada. Distance of the longest enforced penalty in the game.
Ooh, okay.
Over 15.5 yards, under 15.5 yards, which means we're talking about a pass interference penalty.
Right.
However, this crew and this referee is well known for pass interference penalties. So probably called the most pass interference penalties in the NFL this past season.
Are they not doing the All-Star crews anymore?
Yeah, I think they are, but still, this referee tends to
Carl
call a lot of, Sheffers tends to have a lot of pass interference penalties. So
okay, because I read that Carl Cheffers is the referee, but I didn't know if he was working. I thought he wasn't going to be working with his regular crew.
No, but it will be an all-star crew, but he's of course leading the crew, and he does encourage his referees, his officials, to call pass interference if they see it.
Okay.
So expect that's a good bet to take as far as the over.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting one via Bet Online, which is going to be fun. Rihanna exposes butt cheek on stage.
So that's a simple yes or no?
Simple yes or no. So
you
I would assume
over on how much of the butt cheek is showing?
No over under. So I would assume if at some point in the performance she comes out in a thong, you are going to win that bet. So
okay.
And the money line right now is running towards yes, she probably will.
All right.
Let's see. And also, I guess Bovada has a bet called Pop Corners, which is an interesting. It's not a food. It's where. No, I'm sorry. Popcorn. The prop is the first TV advertisement, and Pop Corners is the favorite at Pop Corners. So Pop Corners and Pringles are the two favorites. So which company is going to have their first TV advertisement first, at the first TV timeout? So that's going to be interesting to see how they come up. So it's interesting. It's hilarious how many of these you can get. There's also a prop bet on if there will be a player who scores a touchdown and then converts the 2-point extra point, on the same drive. So that's also a prop bet. It has happened. It's not common, but it has happened. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Interesting. All right. Those are some great prop bets.
Great prop bets. I like that. Rihanna exposes butt cheek. That one, I might have to get a piece of that action.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Brian says he likes Philly to win the game. He also asked if we had talked Falcons yet. Brian, we have not, and we weren't really planning to hit upon any Falcons topics today. But if there's something that you want to discuss briefly, let us know, and we
will talk Falcons if you
weigh
want.
in on a question or a comment that you have on the Falcons. Just let us know.
Right. I mean, we do have all spring and summer to talk about the Falcons. We'll start getting into free agency fairly heavy next week. All the draft preparations coming up. We can talk weaknesses on this Atlanta team, what they need to shore up, pass rush, and edge rusher. So, but other than that, there's a lot of Eagles talk that's going to be Eagles talk. Get my birds mixed up. There's going to be a lot of Falcons talk coming up over the next few weeks.
And Gary asked, how many Super Bowls have been played at this stadium in Phoenix? Which one was the closest? Is this a good venue for the big game? So in preparation for this question, I have looked up some Super Bowl history on Pro Football Reference, and I would have been able to name 2 of these 3 games. Tom, I'll ask you? Can you name there have been 3 other Super Bowls before this one played in Arizona. Do you know the 3?
I know they had one pulled from Arizona because of their refusal to honor the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, and they did have one pulled. As far as the 2 games that did take place there, no, I don't remember. I don't tend to remember the venues as much as I remember the games.
The first one was at Sun Devil Stadium between the Steelers and Cowboys, Super Bowl 30 in January 1996. That was the first Super Bowl in Arizona. And then the last 2 played at the same stadium, different name for the stadium. I guess it was called University of Phoenix Stadium, and now it's State Farm Stadium in Glendale. But 2 Patriots Super Bowls. The Patriots-Giants, the first time they met, which was Super Bowl 42, the year that the Patriots were trying to go undefeated. They lost to the Giants. And then the one that we just referenced, the Patriots-Seahawks matchup, was at this stadium as well in February 2015. That was Super Bowl 49.
Cool. Okay. So this is going to be their 4th game in Arizona. So
I've never been to that venue. I can't say if it's a great venue for the Super Bowl or not. I haven't heard anything this week, complaints or praise for the venue, but it has been a place that's had some great Super Bowls there.
Yeah.
So
it looks like a great place on TV if you watch a Cardinals game or if you're watching, the NFL, what is it? Sunday ticket. You get
Red Zone? Red Zone?
No, not Red Zone. The one where you get all the games. The Sunday ticket one. And if you watch anything, it is a natural grass stadium. It's amazing. They can roll the grass in and out of the stadium. It goes outside to so it's part of the elements. It gets watered, it gets fresh air. And then they roll it inside for the game. It's a fantastic concept. So they play on natural grass there, even though the stadium is domed. So I do like the fact. I think that makes a difference to me, is playing on natural grass over an artificial surface. Zozo, what are you doing?
Yeah, I've heard that makes a difference for the players as well. A lot of players have come out and said they prefer playing on natural grass. But
I want to get back to Gary's first question. Who would I have as?
Yes, you asked about your preference for halftime.
Yeah, for us oldsters. Problem is, Gary, most of the bands that we would be familiar with have already played the Super Bowl. So, Bruce Springsteen has done it. Tom Petty has done it. Well, Petty is dead now. Would love to see the Beatles, but 3/4, 1/2 of them are passed away. And let's see, the Rolling Stones have done it. Some of the older groups have done it.
The Who did it.
The Who did it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are any more baby boomer groups that you can get up there to do a halftime show. I mean, you can't even get Rush. I mean, Rush's drummer is dead, so you can't get Rush.
Brian suggests Elton John. Has Elton John done a halftime show?
He has not. Elton John would be a good choice. That's a great one, Brian. I've seen Elton John in concert twice, and he does a hell of a concert. Now, I don't know how much he would appeal to the modern day element, but I go for it. I listen to it.
Yeah, but I don't think they're not picking the halftime shows based on us anymore, Tom.
No, they're not. Oh, they are not. Absolutely not. They don't care about, they want to go for the new fan, for the
Right. Yeah.
get the new fans, get their attention. So I get that.
Gary says Aerosmith. Has Aerosmith played in halftime?
Oh, not a bad choice, Gary. Aerosmith, and I think they still got some popularity left. Aerosmith can play the halftime show. Yeah. Joe Perry and Steven Tyler, I think, are arguing again. But other than that, I think they get together for a halftime show.
So they've never done it. That kind of surprises me.
No, Aerosmith has never done it. Yeah, Brian, it's all about the young moderns now.
Wait, I thought Aerosmith did, and I just looked it up. It looks like they did something in 2001.
2001.
I wonder if they played a pregame show, because I don't think they've ever played a halftime show.
Okay. The show was produced by him. Because I'm like, I know they.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm on Wikipedia, and it says Super Bowl 35 was halftime show was Aerosmith and NSYNC.
Yep. That's what I see too,
okay.
Boy, I was like, wait, I said, I know, Tom, I'm not, I know you say I'm young, but I was like, I remember, I think Aerosmith did one.
Yeah, they did. And Britney Spears was part of that show.
Yeah.
Looked it up. So, yes, Aerosmith halftime show. So that is interesting. I forgot all about that. They must have really made an impression on me. So, I know the NFL was trying to get Taylor Swift for this year's show, but she wouldn't do it. So, because I think it's being produced by Disney now. So,
okay.
But they couldn't get Taylor Swift, so they got Rihanna to do it.
I'm looking at the past halftime shows. I'm sure Billy Joel has done like the national anthem or something for this.
Probably, but no halftime show.
No halftime show? I mean, he would be great.
He'd be great.
Doesn't have any new music in the last 30 years, but.
Oh, well, that's the problem. No new music. He hasn't come out with a viable album in years. So,
yeah.
He's been living off his hits. So
yeah, I mean, he doesn't feel like writing, so you can't blame him.
No, you can't blame him.
Yeah.
He's got a hell of a catalog, though. I mean, he's put together incredible run of songs that are fantastic. So, Billy Joel, I don't know if he brings the same energy to the stage as he used to. I think maybe 20 years ago, Billy Joel might have really rocked the Super Bowl. Not as much now. Of course, you can get the Billy Joel, Elton John duet.
You could.
They played on stage together.
Yeah.
So you could do that.
Yeah, that would be great. It's only 3-4 songs. It's not like he's got to rock for 3 hours.
Oh, exactly. So, I would love to see that. But it's not about us.
Right.
Not about us. Not anymore.
When you say we, you mean you, me,
and
Gary.
Right.
That's it.
Very sorry. It's not about us. So Lady Gaga, I would like to see do a halftime show.
She did do one, right?
No, I think she did a national anthem.
I get my modern bands mixed up, so I could be wrong. I thought she did one though.
No, she did a national anthem that was incredible. She knocked it out of the park with the national anthem.
I'm looking it up, Tom. I think Lady Gaga did do one. Super Bowl 50.
She did the Patriots comeback one.
Oh, shit.
That was when she had like the belly fat and coming out of her shirt, and everybody made a big deal about that. How she was like a little chunky, but she was like 5 pounds overweight or something.
Yeah, right.
Super Bowl 51 to 2017.
Lady Gaga chunky. I'll still take anything over 90% of the singers out there.
There you go, Brian.
I guess that's what's happening, Tom, is all the people you think haven't done it have done it, And then
Have
it's like,
done
where
it.
do you pick from there? Where do you
What
go
do you
there?
pick?
Because I know I don't know, I'll chime in, but I think some of the big issue is, what is the Super Bowl halftime performances have been kind of, I would argue, more family friendly oriented.
Yes.
And when you look at a lot of the music now today, even though those artists had innuendo in their music, it's now much more direct. Because I
Yes.
mean, I remember when I think Travis Scott made an appearance, I forget which Super Bowl, but I mean, half of his lyrics had to be bleeped out. Like it was just the beat because it was all like, it's like, this is being aired on for national TV. So I think as you look in the future, you have to say, hey, who do we get up here, or what is the social norm change of what we can put on television that we
Right.
can have an entertaining show and people be entertained. I mean, there are lots of options, don't get me wrong, but I mean, when you look at the Grammys, when you look at the performances, it's just a different age of music. And I think that the NFL and, national syndicated television is going to have to look and say, what do we do moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I do think that's a big part of it.
Chris, you remember the Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson Super Bowl halftime show?
Oh yeah, I mean that was the whole. I mean, she accidentally, quote unquote, but intentionally ripped off the shirt, but the camera moved away. I mean, it was definitely there. But like when you look at Justin's music, Janet's music, right? It has the references, it has the stuff, but it was like an innuendo to mean that. I mean, nowadays it's just straight up, I want to bleep you, I want to do this, and that's not.
That's right. There's no innuendo about it anymore.
Yeah, so it's is the norm now to do that, and we can put that on television, or do we have to keep finding these artists and going, like, because Rihanna has a lot of the innuendo too in her music, but it's not this overtness to it.
Well, last year's was a good show where they had on a series of rappers, but it was really a good halftime show.
Yeah, it was, who was it? Snoop Dogg and somebody.
Snoop
Who was
Dogg, but they all kind of dialed back on the direct references.
Exactly, but it's actually, I mean, the more we
but
talk
it was
about
a fantastic musically as far as the show goes. It was a great show.
No, I agree. But even then, right? Like it was all the classic people. It was like it's kind of like the new age of rap to put on national TV is
it was
different
all
than putting on
all
the
the classic rappers.
Yeah,
and isn't that something? Rap is now have a classic category.
Yeah, I mean it's serious. I mean it is. It is. It's the 80s and 90s stuff. So it's. I mean, I think this is the most I've ever chimed in on the show because I'm like, this is something I know of and I haven't enough context about. But it's true. I think it's something that we all have to, as we go to the future. It's like if you think about it, and like even a change management process, right? Like strategically, if you say let's put Snoop Dogg on there and see how we do, then let's push the boundary a little bit and get someone else on until it's just normal, to say, okay, we'll have, a different type of Super Bowl. I'll just put it that way. It's not to say anybody's good or bad. It's just, I think that's been the concern and everything moving forward is how do we create this as an event that everyone will watch, the families will watch, and, they don't got to put their kids in the other room because there's content that they don't want their kids.
This is all about family too. You're right. Absolutely, Chris.
Yeah. It's a family event, loving the commercials, everything.
Right.
So
exactly.
I like this comment from Brian. He says, easy to forget about the Lady Gaga performance. Wipe out that whole debacle.
Wipe out that whole experience. I know.
Right. Not even the halftime show is kept in the brain.
No, didn't even survive. So, but it's been interesting because, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the halftime shows in the future because I don't know. Where do you go from here? But I don't know anyway because I'm not up on, who would be a great show. So, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not the one to answer that question either. We do have a question from Todd that I want to answer and then get to our prize picks for the Super Bowl. He says, what is your take on Mr. Blank giving the seal of approval to Ritter? I'm afraid now Terry will not draft a QB. I think at face value, I think you have to take the comment at face value. Anything an owner says at this point in the offseason has to be taken with a grain of salt. I don't think Arthur Blank should. I don't think he should come out and say that, well, Ritter really struggled and we're looking to, replace him or say anything like that, because as an owner, first of all, you shouldn't have much say in what the roster is. We've kind of questioned how much, control Blank has in decisions about the football team. I think he probably has more than maybe he should, but an owner being positive and saying, this player did well is nothing more, I think, than him just trying to be positive. And he's kind of trying to save face in case Ritter is the guy. Then he knows, then he's already conveyed to the fan base that they believe he can do it. If they draft somebody else, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't believe in Ritter. It just means, that they want to have competition for him. Right. So I don't know. I don't think what Blank said really has anything much impact on what Terry Fontenot might do, is what I would say.
Personally, I think the Falcons are going to bring in a quarterback as a free agent and try it that way. They have so many holes on this team that they need to be filled. Even if they draft a quarterback, it's going to be tough and just like last year, it was tough to evaluate Ritter completely. It's going to be tough to evaluate another quarterback with the number of holes that this team still has to fill. I think they're going to come in with a free agent quarterback this year and give Ritter competition.
And that makes a lot of sense. And then you try to fill out those holes with your draft class. And you really see, rather than just have a 4-game sample, you really get a full assessment of whether or not Ritter is the guy going into next season. I know fans probably don't want to hear that because that kind of sounds like you're not going to be winning a lot in 2023.
Sounds like you're giving up on 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. But realistically, I mean, this team isn't super close to being a Super Bowl contender. So 2023 is hopefully just another stepping stone. And the best way for that to be a stepping stone is using the draft to fill out the rest of your holes and see what you have in Ritter. That's what we think.
And that's not to say that, through the draft, through free agency, that they don't put building blocks in place that are going to take this team to the playoffs and actually give this team a future. So 2023 is not going to be a wasted season anyway, no matter what you do, because you want to see what building blocks they put into place. Are these building blocks effective? Can we look at those building blocks through the future? 2023 is going to be a fascinating year for the Falcons.
They have a lot of cap space and again, another top 10 pick. So, but no definitive future at quarterback, which kind of makes you wonder.
It makes it rough.
Yeah, because do you go all in and spend a lot of money on free agency because you have the cap space, but you really don't know, you got to settle on the quarterback spot before you really become a contender.
And that's the rough thing about 2 years ago when the 5 quarterbacks were out, and the Falcons had a chance to take their pick of a top quarterback that was coming out, and they didn't. So, and
yeah, but how many? I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because we have other things that we want to chat about. But I know that Justin Fields is the guy that you're probably thinking about. Could have gone to the Falcons, but of those 5 quarterbacks, it was supposed to be this great class. 3 of them are not so good.
We'll see. I think there's still,
and I'm not even counting Justin Fields. I'm counting Trey Lance got hurt, but then the other 2, Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, haven't been worth a first-round pick.
No. But you got to roll the dice on one. If you don't have one, you got to roll the dice on one. You've got to try and bring a quarterback in at some point. You can't. You're not going to be the complete contender until you get one. You get one on your sideline. So
I agree with that. I just, the 4th best guy in the draft, I don't think is the time to do it. But you and I have disagreed on that for 2 years now. So
2 years now.
Let's get to our prize picks for this week.
Can I mention one thing though?
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame class. I don't know if you followed it very closely.
Yeah, I thought we'd do prize picks and then the Hall of Fame class.
Oh, okay. Let's do that then.
Okay. All right.
And one more quick thing about what Gary said. Go back to marching bands. You know, I would say maybe we go with Up With People. So are they still around? But that's me. So we can move on from here.
Oh, always an idea, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
So I have some interesting picks and prize picks because the app is giving you one freebie and one kind of discount if you want to call it that. So I think you got 24 hours until Patrick left on the Patrick Mahomes freebie, where he's set at half a passing yard.
Right.
Obviously, you're going over on that. With he's not going to get hurt during the coin toss is always my joke that I make. So he's going to hit one passing yard or more.
Right.
So I'm going over on that. And then the other discounted player.
We got 2 more hours on that one.
On Mahomes, it's only for 2 more hours?
Only for 2 more hours.
All right. Okay. Yeah. And then this discount is only for 2 more hours as well. Yeah. Jalen Hurts rushing yards. He's at 36.5 rushing yards. That's the discount. After 2 more hours, it's going to go back up to 46.5. Right. So you got 10 fewer yards for him to hit. And I was kind of debating taking the 46.5 this morning before the discount happened. This discount just happened like an hour ago. Right. But I was I thought 46 was just a little bit too high. At 36.5, I really like that. So I think those two are for sure entries you want to have. Mahomes over the passing yards and Jalen Hurts over the rushing yards.
Yep, I agree.
What else do you got?
It's rough. Go ahead and do yours because I've been hemming and hawing about this all week. I really don't. Yeah, I don't see a lot of favorites that jump out at me other than what you can add on there. AJ Brown, 5 receptions. That might be a good one as far as catches because Jalen Hurts is going to be throwing the ball. He's going to have to throw the ball. And he's got Devontae Smith, he's got Dallas Goedert, and he's got AJ Brown. So, AJ Brown at 5 receptions, he's one of Hurts' favorite targets. Go ahead and take him. Travis Kelce at 7 receptions. Travis Kelce is going to see a lot of action this week. Yeah. So that might be, a good one to take as far as heading into this game. I like Travis Kelce to be Mahomes' favorite target this week.
I like that one too. I'm going to go over on Kelce, 7 receptions. I mentioned Kenneth Gainwell a little bit ago. I like him in a couple different categories. He's at 19.5 rushing yards. He's had more than that in the last 3 games dating back to week 18. He's had a really great postseason. He's been really involved in the offense. 12 rushes against the Giants, 14 against the 49ers. So another one you could think about is 4.5 rushing attempts.
Yeah.
I think that's go over on both.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I like if you're struggling to come up with these, or if you want to do like 5 or a second entry and you're looking for a 6th one, I always like to look for the kickers. That's kind of like one that if you think it's going to be a high scoring game, that can be one that's kind of a freebie as well. Sometimes I've gone with kickers and it backfires. But you got Jake Elliott at 7 kicking points, Harrison Butker at 7.5. So basically, if you think either of those teams are going to get 2 field goals and a touchdown, that's kind of what you're looking at with getting to 7 or 8 kicking points.
I like the Butker one because I do think Philadelphia, their defense will hold a couple of times and keep Butker's going to have to convert. So I think at least 2 field goals from Butker, and the Chiefs are going to get the ball in the end zone. So I do like that 7.5 going over 7.5 on Harrison Butker.
You could also do field goals made. Elliott and Butker are both set at 1.5 field goals. So you just need 2 field goals for either kicker.
Oh, I like that one.
Or there's a combo. You could do Butker plus Elliott combined, and they're set at 3 field goals made. So if there's 4 field goals made in the entire game, then you hit on that one.
I actually like that one. Because I think you will see some field goals. As I said, I think the Philadelphia defense will shut down the Chiefs offense. Maybe not the entire game, but there will be games where they're going to come up with a big play and they're going to have to bring Butker out to the field. So I like an over on that. And Philadelphia, it's going to be interesting to see how this offense performs, but they're going to have plenty of opportunities against Kansas City too. So I do like those kicking props.
And before you place any of your entries, don't forget, use our promo code to get signed up for Prize Picks, our promo code ASU. That gets you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So some free money there. If you haven't used the app before and you plan to get started for tomorrow, it would be a really fun way, I think, to watch the Super Bowl. I'm planning to do 5 players in my entry for the game. So, and have... I think I'm going to do 2 on each team and then the combo kicker 1. So I'm rooting for a few different things to happen and just make the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be interesting anyway, but it just has another element to it for me and for you guys who play. Right.
It adds a fantasy element that's missing this time of year. So, and I know you'll get really, hyped up about fantasy. So here you go. This is the way to do it. Use promo code ASU. Match up to your first $100. They will match, and you have got plenty of opportunities because they not only have the game totals, they have for half. You can go first half, second half, first quarter. You can do prop bets on. So it's going to be interesting to see how, if you look it over, take a look at it and see if you find something. And if you don't like those, there's always tennis. So,
right. Yeah. But get signed up, use our promo code ASU. And if you're, getting started for the Super Bowl, but then no football for a while, you can play some entries on some other sports like tennis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Plenty of sports on there to put prop bets on. So I noticed they don't put cricket on there anymore.
No more cricket? Is it cricket off season? Is that why?
I don't know. I have no idea what season cricket is.
I don't know either. Okay. But Thursday was the NFL honors.
Yes.
And Tom wanted to react to the Hall of Fame class. He said at the top of the show, if you missed the beginning of our episode today, that he got 8 out of the 9 new candidates, enshrinees for the Hall of Fame correct. So I'm guessing you really loved this class.
Oh, I think this is a great class. I love it. Yes, I do. I thought Torrey Holt would get in this year. I have spent the last 3 seasons thinking Torrey Holt was going to get in.
Well, that was my immediate reaction was, again, no wide receiver. And it's just ridiculous because there's like 5 or 6 wide receivers that need to go in. And
right now, among the finalists this year, you had Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, and Reggie Wayne.
Yeah.
All Hall of Fame
players.
Yes.
And then you had some other guys. I'm a Steeler fan, so I want to see Hines Ward get in there. I don't think Hines Ward should get in ahead of those 3. And that's kind of the problem if you want Hines Ward to get in. There's this logjam at wide receiver, and it's been that way for a long time. And until the Hall of Fame is serious about inducting wide receivers into the Hall, then this is a problem. It's a problem for secondary guys like Hines Ward.
Yeah, the selection committee for some reason has something against wide receivers.
Yeah.
They have had log jams at wide receiver before. And let me just spell it out because I think a lot of people were confused on social media. There are 15 modern era finalists. You can only have 5. that can go in, of those modern era finalists. You also had 3 senior committee nominees go in this year, and a contributor, Don Coryell, go in this year. And I'm thrilled to see Don Coryell go in. I never thought he was going to go in as a coach because his teams fell short too many times. But his fingerprints are all over passing offenses all around the league to this day. So, Don Coryell as a contributor, is a no doubt Hall of Famer. As a coach, putting him as a coach among players was not going to happen. But he has finally made it, and I love that. But yeah, DeMarcus Ware is the one that made it. He's one who I thought was definitely qualified and was going to go in at some point. One of these years he was going to make it. But again, I just thought Torrey Holt was going to be the guy. I really thought, come on, Isaac Bruce is in, and Isaac Bruce wasn't even the best receiver on his team. All right, Torrey Holt was the best receiver on that team. And they haven't put Torrey Holt in. I just don't get it. I think Patrick Willis is being punished for retiring early.
Yeah.
Because Patrick Willis should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Just a monster linebacker. One of the greatest linebackers to ever play professional football. All right, I will go right there. I will put him up there with Dick Butkus, Ray Nitschke, Lawrence Taylor. I won't. Well, he didn't. Taylor was outside and Willis was inside. But I will put him up with any inside linebacker ever, period. And he has not gone in yet. So it really gets me how this can work.
How about Dwight Freeney?
Dwight Freeney, I think, is going to go in. This was his first year of eligibility, first year making it as a finalist. I didn't think he was going to. He was among my first cuts because basically sometimes you have to be on the finalist list a couple of years to get in. And the only 2 first ballot guys this year were Joe Thomas, tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and Darrelle Revis, cornerback. So they both went in as first ballot. And I figured both of them would. So Revis is impressive, maybe not as impressive as a couple of the other linebackers on the list. I think Freeney, not as impressive as a couple of the other people on the list, but I think Freeney goes in. He will. He had a big impact on the game and on the teams that he played with. So
yeah, I can see that argument. We differentiate Hall of Fame and then first ballot Hall of Fame, but I just Freeney was talked about a lot during his career, a lot of my childhood, and as this fantastic player. And actually, I thought he had a stronger, better reputation than DeMarcus Ware did. But I think they both will be in the Hall of Fame too. So I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Freeney probably gets in next year.
Possible, because it's a weaker class of first-year candidates next year. So you're going to see a lot of repeat finalists. And I think some of these guys are going to go in. So expect that. Devin Hester. And I know there's a split on Devin Hester because he's a specialist. But he's on the NFL's all, top 100 team. Only 1 or 2 specialists to make that squad of the top 100 players in NFL history. And, holds NFL records for 20 non-offensive touchdowns in his career. It's just amazing but the selection committee, again, has a prejudice against specialists because you've seen how difficult it is to get place kickers in or punters in.
Yeah.
You only got 2 place kickers and a punter in. So it's going to take a while for Hester to kick down the door as a return specialist. But you look at Hester's returns, and a lot of Hester's impact on the field came when he didn't touch the ball because a lot of kickoffs and a lot of punts were kicked away from him. And the Bears gained field position because teams were kicking away from him. They don't want to take a chance. So, you got to take that into consideration. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think it's going to take time. But I wasn't disappointed this year to not see him get in because I didn't think he would. Because Rondé Barber's been a finalist for a couple of years. And Rondé Barber, if he just defined defensive back position and was incredible. Zach Thomas finally made it.
Yeah.
And we have been saying for the last 3 years, how could they keep Zach Thomas out? Well, between Zach Thomas and Patrick Willis, they took Zach Thomas this year. And it's about time.
I think moral of the story, we think Dwight Freeney maybe should have gotten in. Devin Hester will have to wait, but should have gotten in. The wide receiver thing, all of them should be in, but at least one of them should have gone in. This goes back to last year when we felt like some questionable guys got in.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sam Mills
got in. Great candidates this year. Right. That some guys maybe were robbed, but not really robbed because there were more than 5 worthy guys to go into the Hall of Fame.
Right. Exactly. The guys who went in are worthy. The senior committee was Chuck Hawley, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. The only player to ever win an Super Bowl MVP on the losing squad.
Yeah.
Ken Riley, who's still number 5 on the interceptions list, was never a Hall of Fame finalist. He finally went in. Ken Riley of the Bengals. And another thing, the Bengals were very angry that Ken Riley was not part of the in memoriam segment on the NFL honors. So I don't know how you do that. Put the guy in the Hall of Fame, but keep him out of your in memoriam segment. And then Joe Klecko, which defensive lineman with the Jets, basically invented the 3 technique for a nose tackle. So, very solid nominees there. I love this class. I did not think Bryant Young was a Hall of Famer last year. I still don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Sam Mills, he got in because of his work with the USFL, and everybody was making the argument, well, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the NFL Hall of Fame. Well, playing in the USFL is like being a great hitter in AAA and then having an average career in the major leagues. All right? It doesn't equate. He had no measurable did not lead the league in anything measurable. And I'm sorry, Sam Mills was a great leader, was a solid player on his team, was not worthy of Hall of Fame induction. So, yeah, the 2 last year that I really was disappointed in. Yeah. This year, I have no disappointments.
I agree with you. And those 2 guys, could have been Dwight Freeney this year. If Zach Thomas goes in last year, there's another spot for a Dwight Freeney or a Devin Hester or Torrey Holt this year.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we talk about when we say log jam, because more guys come onto the ballot and they're not going in fast.
They're not going in. Right. You got 3 wide receivers sitting there that can go in.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to wrap up the show, but
by the way, also one other thing about the NFL honors, I never have to see George Kittle sing again. Never.
What did he sing? I actually didn't watch
He sang early in the show about his team and everything, and just awful. And I don't know where Kelly Clarkson got that dress from, but again, I noticed normally designers take credit for all the stuff they do for red carpet and on stage. I noticed nobody took credit for that Kelly Clarkson dress. So, yeah, just a couple of final comments about the NFL honors.
Well, you mentioned briefly the 2024 class. A lot of, interesting names. I agree with you that they're not a lot of guys that you immediately say, yeah, this guy's a Hall of Famer. But I think one thing is going to dominate the 2024 Hall of Fame class conversation. Do you know what that's going to be, Tom?
No, actually, you got me on that one.
Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is going to be on the ballot. And there's already some chatter that people think he should go in. And or there's already some chatter of people coming out and saying he shouldn't go in.
No, he shouldn't go in.
I think this is going to be, he's going to be a very big topic with the next year's class.
I don't know if he's going to be as big of a topic.
You don't think so?
I think the consensus is going to come down to no, he did not have the career to get himself in. I know his career ended early because of injury, but still did not get his team in the Super Bowl. Actually, the only AFC championship game he was part of, he got blown out.
Yeah.
So, no, I do not think he had the career to put him in as a quarterback.
I don't think so either. I think he should be on the ballot and then fall off after one year or whatever. But I think he's got a lot of fans. So I'm just curious to see the conversation around him over the next 12 months or so.
Well, those fans are wrong.
As usual, Tom leaves little room for debate with Andrew Luck and his Hall of Fame candidacy. Thank you so much for making our Super Bowl episode part of your weekend. And we'll be back next week to fully kick off the offseason, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun to start talking offseason. There's going to be plenty of things that are going to be happening this year that are going to be interesting. So enjoy the game tomorrow. We, as said, thankful that you all spent a part of your Saturday with us today. And everybody have a great week.